Okay, so here's a 5-year picture for Alibaba. You know what's an interesting way to look at this thing? Let me take a look. There's a few ways to look at this. A lot of building a model is about, okay, how do I interpret this? Risk-free rate's pretty similar because it's just equities. I mean, Alibaba almost has to go up at this rate, barring the only way you can get hosed is if there's a big Chinese recession, which many people think there might be. I don't know if the Habs will make the playoffs. I used to love hockey. Yeah, it's hard to trust the Chinese numbers. China's 10 years at 2%. The central bank there is doing a lot of stuff to try to shore up what's going on. So we could just do China GDP and China 10-year here. So 10-year right now, this fiscal year, say it's 2.1%. And then let's see, in 2020, fiscal 2024, it was like 3, let's see, 9, 23 roughly. It's like 3%. And then fiscal 23, call it, oh wait, it wasn't, okay, let me get these numbers. I had the wrong thing here for a second. Oh, maybe right, let's see. No, 2.7. And then let's see, September like 2022. Yeah, 2.8. And then September 21. .9. September 2020. Things were a little different there. 3.1. Okay, so yields have been falling. Doesn't mean a lot, but and then we'll look at GDP. So GDP is a little hard to measure in China because they lie. It's basically been flat. So most of their business is e-commerce, right? So one of the questions becomes, well, what does Amazon's e-commerce business look like? And some of it's B2B e-commerce, right? Cloud business isn't doing well. So like I said, the only real risk is some like protracted recession or something like that. I mean, for Chinese customers, you'd think they'd want Chinese cloud, including government. Okay, the press releases go way back, which is good. Yeah, but they're not growing at all. Cloud's competitive here too. Azure, GCP, and AWS are all still growing. It's funny, they don't talk about customers or GMV or any of that shit anymore. Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. Price war, so nobody's having revenue growth? Maybe. I gotta look at Baidu, I guess. Baidu's public too. they used to have this big other income from like Alipay, probably from something, and now they don't. So TikTok Shop. Who owns Temu again? Pinduoduo? Yeah. We got to look at all those stocks if we're going to understand this stock. But I will say it's extraordinarily cheap. But we also have to look at. Okay, this is not. We also kind of have to look at I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, just look at the other companies in China just to see if there's something we're missing. Maybe all the Chinese stocks are cheap. If they're all cheap, you don't really do any better by owning Alibaba than in any of the other companies. Right? So if Baidu's cheap and all these other ones are cheap, then just buy a basket of them and we don't have to do any analysis. We're just making a macro bet. Well, that's one of the most like advanced and misunderstood things about stocks. Maybe I should make a video about it. It's probably going to sail over everybody's head. But like when you look at your portfolio, and if you could emulate your portfolio without using the stocks in your portfolio, you're not really investing in those stocks. You're investing in a bunch of other factors that will give you the same return. So if you own Carvana, if you own stuff like that, really high growth meme stocks that are kind of being shorted or stuff like that, like you're basically just buying a bunch of beta. Like if you own, maybe a better example, if you own Nvidia and then you own, what's like a super high beta stock, Palantir, what else is super high beta? Eli Lilly maybe. Lilly's kind of a defensive company, but it's sort of high beta just because of what they do now. But they're probably not the best one to look at. So that's like one basket. And then if you own Boeing and Alibaba and all these other beat up value stocks, Intel, right? That's a totally different portfolio, and you could basically buy a value index and get the same result. So it basically is like, depending on your sizing and stuff like that. Obviously, if you have 3 positions and they're 33% each, you're getting idiosyncratic risk. But if your portfolio looks all the same, you sort of don't have a. Let's see here. I think I have a microphone. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, I have a Shure SM57. Is that good enough? Is that good enough for you guys? Check, check, check. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hove! Hove! Yeah, that's how us Eastern Europeans are made. Pretty same phenotype as Vitalik. That guy's weird, man. Who isn't weird, I guess? He freaks me out, though. Okay, they did a 10-for-1 split. Maybe 12-for-1 split? Some kind of split. 8-for-1, 8-for-1, 8-for-1. So slime. Oh yeah. I was wondering why everyone was asking me about Equilium. It's like, why do you guys care so much? Sorry, Rigsby. Rigsby. Yeah, it's seldom like companies with this kind of growth profile just stop. But oh, and also if you notice, there's no entrepreneurship happening in China, so that's kind of bullish for Alibaba. It's bearish for China, but it's kind of bullish for Alibaba. Did any of you see that graph? It's like almost no new Chinese startups in the last few years. You're thinking of my ex-girlfriend Lauren. Sometimes I miss Lauren. It's a classic case of a very, very pretty girl with not such a great attitude. No girlfriend. She wants to be treated like a princess at all times. You gotta crawl before you ball. Kanye gave you the whole recipe. Easy taught me. I should have married Brittany Pepke, you're right. I fumbled that fucking bag, man. Problem with Pepke is she lived in LA. So it was hard for me to make that work. Shkreli season approaching. Yeah, that stretch hurt a little. Not as young as I used to be. Dunda. What gets me going? Learning things, achieving things. You have to admit, Alibaba's an amazing company. I think it's got to be a great buy, but I do want to look at some other Chinese stocks before I go to him. But yeah, what a great value. One day, it's kind of like the way most value stocks work. One day you're just going to wake up and the stock's doubled quietly, like IBM right now. People crying about IBM for years and years and years. Oh, what a dog. Oh, what a dog. The worst stock ever. And all of a sudden, it's at all-time highs, and nobody's like, wow, fucking IBM. Wow, they did great, huh? It's like, yeah, you're sleeping on it. While all the value guys are getting roasted. Oh, you're an IBM? What are you fucking... you need a new tech guy. Fire your tech analyst. You're an idiot. How could you be so stupid? Who told you to get an IBM? What are you, a moron? And you're just like, okay, I guess I should sell it. I guess I'll sell it. Then it triples. Same thing with Intel. How can you be an Intel? Are you stupid? NVIDIA's the sauce. You missed NVIDIA and your guy's telling you to buy Intel? Fire that guy, man. You know what? I will. He sells all his Intel at the bottom, buys all the NVIDIA at the top. Thanks, John. That's Bad Luck Marv or one of those guys. Not all Chinese stocks cook the books. It'd be very weird if Alibaba was cooking the books. Bad Luck Brian. That's the one I was thinking of. We should look at AstraZeneca. I used to call it was such a bad company, I used to call it LastraZeneca. Like it was in last place. Then I started calling it FastraZeneca. When my buddy took over the company, made it a star. Yeah. Pascal. He's that guy. Intel is probably a buy right now, and it could have another bad year, so you have to be a little careful. Nobody wants their money locked up any more than it has to be. Like I'd own a small amount of Intel just to have it, and then if shit gets worse, that's when I'd pounce. I'm gonna pounce on your girl real quick. You leave a pretty girl out in the subway, on the bus, at Starbucks, and you're not with her, protecting her, Shkreli be like, hey, baby, what's up? Hey, what you doing here alone? Yeah, you don't got no man. Yeah, I do have a word. No, you ain't here. I wouldn't take my eyes off you. You special. Relax, Unc. Because you special. How does he not realize that? And you don't got a ring either? Damn, what kind of man is that? Listen, this is my number, alright? I don't know when you're going to stop playing around in your life, but whenever you do, I'll be here. I'll look at those emails, Julie. D. Unk acting Niki. What the fuck? What is this new slang? Call HR. Okay, so I mean, gross margins have dropped for Alibaba over time as revenue went up 10x. Hell yeah, Chuck. Yeah, I did see that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll look at like Baidu and some of these other stocks and see if we can't get our head around this bullshit. Okay. Yeah, it looks, I mean, look, it looks really, really cheap. What impression? But I just don't know enough about the Chinese equities, like, scene.